What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. I'm telling you, when I said the other day that Washington, D.C. is turning into a living care facility full of geriatrics that should have long retired, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful toward the elderly, because there are some great leaders this country's had who have been older. Claude Pepper is one of them. You know, he comes to mind. Bernie Sanders, although he had a heart attack a couple of years ago, he's very sound of mind and he's a great leader. I think he should have been president. But, you know, the Democratic Party rigged it so that he was insured to have lost both times. But another congressperson who should have retired long ago is found to be unfit for office. As a matter of fact, they're not really even serving in office right now. This woman right here, her name is Kay Granger, okay? And she's a Republican. And she represents, I think it's the 12th district, the 12th congressional district in Texas. She's represented that district since 1997. She was chair of the United States House Committee on Appropriations from 2023 to 2024. Okay? Now, that's not a very long time being chair. And on October 30th of 2023, she confirmed that she would not run for re-election in 2024 this year. March of this year, the 22nd of March, she announced she would be stepping down as chair of the House Appropriations Committee as soon as the Republican Steering Committee chose a replacement, which took place on April the 10th. Her last recorded vote was on July 24th of this year. Aside from an appearance at a ceremony celebrating her work on appropriations, November 19th of this year, since July, she had not been seen. She had not cast a vote. She had been guilty of nonfeasance, meaning she's not fulfilling her obligations as the congressional the Congresswoman representing the 12th District of Texas, which represents 2 million people. So a reporter, trying to get the newspaper correct here. So a reporter with the Dallas Express did some investigation and found that Kay Granger had been living in a nursing home for dementia patients, costing $4,000 per month. Obviously, I would assume that that cost is being footed by the taxpayers. So this person, Kay Granger, who's 81 years old, has been living in a nursing facility since July. What caused her to go to this nursing home? She was seen wandering in the district that she lives in and represents, wandering and seeming confused and disorientated. Now, if she was that bad at that point in time that she had to be in this care facility, then I'm pretty sure she'd already had been showing signs of dementia before. As a matter of fact, when I did a little bit of research, people were saying that she was deteriorating when she ran for re-election in 2022. They saw a decline in her cognitive ability, but she ran anyway. That sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? That sounds very familiar to a guy who's about to walk out the door or stumble out the door in Joe Biden. Now, if she's been living in a care facility this long, ladies and gentlemen, then who posted this? This is from her X/Twitter. I have been honored to have had the best congressional interns assisting me and my team. Thank you all for your great service for Texas 12th District over the years. This was sent out December 20th. This is a photograph, obviously an old photograph of her with her team, right? So who's sending this? It's not her. So I would take a guess that it's probably her team, her staff. They've essentially been covering for her and just pretty much trying to, ride out the term, trying to, waste the clock until the term ends. And I'm assuming they're motivated by a couple of things. They don't want to give up their jobs. Right now, they're probably, like I said, milking the clock and making sure that they have all their, what's the term I'm trying to use? They're trying to make sure they got all their eggs in a row. Is that the right term? I hope I'm using the right term with that one. I hope they got all their eggs in a row so that when the term ends, when her term ends, they already have jobs waiting for them. Because we know Washington, D.C. is so fucked up at this point, right? Now, this is a larger point I want to make. This isn't an isolated incident. You got Joe Biden, who I already mentioned, clearly past his prime. We already have reports showing that this guy has been non-compos mentis for quite some time. And the administration knew it. The subordinates knew it, and they covered it up for years. Mitch McConnell's falling all over the place. If he's not freezing in front of cameras, he's still there. You had, what's her name? Nancy Pelosi just fractured her hip. She's like 84, 85 years old. She's been deteriorating. She's not mentally, she's okay, but physically she's deteriorating. Then, of course, you had Dianne Feinstein, whose staff was doing the same thing. She was obviously infirmed, obviously enfeebled. Obviously, her staff was running her social media profiles, making it appear like she was all the way there when she wasn't. And she died in office. And there have been a multitude of Congress people over the past couple of years who have unfortunately died in office. Now, people pass away. We're all going to pass away one day. But it's happening at an accelerated rate because there's so many old people in power. This country just elected a man who's 78 years old. And you have to hope that he serves out his term. And Trump, to me, even though he's not as bad as Biden, he's clearly not what he was 4 or even 8 years ago. This isn't a Democratic issue or Republican issue. This is a Washington issue. And to me, at the heart of it are individuals, in particular, the baby boomer generation, who don't want to give up power. They don't want to give up power. Now, you can make an argument that Generation X, Generation Z, well, I wouldn't say Generation Z, they're not quite there yet, but Generation X, millennials, we're not as involved in the political process. We haven't quite grown up yet as we should have, but there are younger people in play. There are younger people in Washington ready to take the reins. And the boomers don't want to give it up. And by the boomers, I'm talking about those born roughly between the mid-40s and the mid-60s. Although Joe Biden is born in 42, but you get the idea. They don't want to give up power, man. What's his name? Chuck Grassley, I think it is. He's 91. What's going on here? If there have never been a greater call for term limits, I don't think there's ever been a greater call for it. We need term limits. I've said it before. I don't think senators should serve for more than 3 terms. I don't think congresspersons should serve for more than, I would say, 9 terms. 18 years. That should be the limit. 18 years. 18 years in Congress. 18 years in the Senate. Honestly, for the presidency, I don't have a problem if it's 3 terms. But the two-term tradition makes sense. But I wouldn't mind if it was 3 terms. But there need to be term limits. You can't have these people in Washington forever like this. Also, is she still getting her salary? I'm assuming that salary is helping to pay for her health care costs and the cost of her being in this mental health facility. And also, where is the media? Where's the media doing their job uncovering this? What happened to the investigative media? What happened to these dipshits who were so, what happened to the Woodward and Bernsteins of the old guard? What happened to them? What happened to the Leslie Stalls? What happened to the Dan Rathers? What happened to these guys? These guys don't do their job. What are you there for? That's why I don't respect these claims. The Fourth Estate is a fucking bullshit. Kudos to that lonely reporter with the Dallas Express. They did a little bit of investigative reporting and found out what the mainstream media, the big wigs, been trying to cover up. Like I said, this ain't a Democratic Republican issue. This is an establishment issue. This is a problem. They got to step aside. And this is bull. I'm not trying to do this to pick on a dementia patient, but it's a problem. Look, when you are unable to fulfill your office, you have an obligation to step aside. She should have stepped aside probably a year ago if she was this bad. But that's what self-interest, that's what happens. So something big goes down, right? If something big goes down, who's voting? I mean, who's going to vote? She's not present. Also, let me look up something right quick. I'm going to look up this district. See if I can see the voting history. She was elected in 1996 with 58% of the vote. In 2002, she was unopposed for the most part. There was an independent libertarian that ran against her. She got 92% of the vote. 2022, she got 64%. So this is like a safe Republican district. Why didn't she just step down? It's not like this is a really close district and you just have a popular incumbent and the Republicans are afraid that if she steps aside, a novice Republican is going to get defeated and they're going to lose whatever small margin they have in the House. This isn't that. This is a safe Republican seat. Why didn't they demand that she step down? So anyway, that's all I got to say at this one, man. Tell me what you guys think. This is ridiculous.